Americanization has drastically changed the day-to-day life of the world in fields such as music. Before Americanization, Europe was releasing classical music for operas and auditorium settings, such as Alban Berg's Strauss's Der Rosenkavalier, and Ives' Symphony No. 4. Elvis Presley and the Beach Boys were among the first people to have broken the chain of what was defined as music, and influenced bands such as the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and the Rolling Stones. The Americanized music is noticeable in Europe, and in Owen Davis's column describing his trip to Italy, called American Presence Obvious in European Pop Culture, he wrote, "While all the patrons and bartenders swirled in a storm of conversational Italian, there was a live band singing nothing but English songs. AC/DC seemed to be the band's paramour, but it also played the likes of Jimi Hendrix, Steve Miller, and Leonard Skinner." Business. Large American businesses and franchises that have moved into Europe not only changed the cuisine, but also fashion and how Europeans spend their free time. Examples of these companies include McDonald's. In fact, McDonald's is so successful that they serve over 54 million people daily, all around the world, and they serve food in approximately 66% of the world. Other companies that are just as successful include Burger King, Walmart, Coca-Cola with their wide variety of drinks, PepsiCo, Starbucks, American Eagle, Hollister, and the Walt Disney Corporation, which has founded Disneyland Paris in France, and daily they receive above 41,000 visitors per day and about 15 million visitors per year. Finally, Hollywood, which actually overtakes the movie industry in many European countries, as shown in this picture by Business Management Europe. The popularity of American companies in Europe and other parts of the world are parodized in Cam Cardo's picture, Al-Qaeda Americanized. One Ugandan writer noticed the effects of Americanization and wrote, "Many countries now have equivalents of the American awards of Oscars for the movies and Grammys for the music." Americanization has also led to the popularity and acceptability of what is known as American English. Many youths are now using this type of English, considering it modern. One British native was quoted to say on the Yahoo answer, "When you do come here, you will see lots of familiar things in our culture," confirming that there are many similarities between America and British culture, which is partly due to Americanization. Technology. American inventions during the period of Americanization has drastically changed the day-to-day life of people all around the world with inventions such as Tupperware, credit cards, cable television, the ice chest, WD-40, Ziploc bags, TV dinners, CDs, the laser printer, gaming consoles, GPS, wireless home telephones, cell phones, voicemail, digital cameras, luggage bags, and especially technologies such as the computer and the computer mouse, the portable computer, also known as laptop, and internet. These technologies have given rise to multi-billion-dollar companies such as Apple and Microsoft. These American commodities are very alluring to people around the world, and as one writer said, "The world is standing at the feet of the Statue of Liberty, waiting to breathe, eat, drink, and sleep American culture." History. Americanization began in the early 1900s when Europeans began flooding into America, Soon, these immigrants were changed from their original background to learn a new American way of doing things. And two writers described this process as taking new immigrants and turning them into Americans, whether they wanted to give up their traditional ways or not. And another said that it encourages immigrants to abandon their heritage and conform to American ways. But a majority of Americanization began during World War II when the American soldiers and the Allied soldiers met with each other at places like army bases and Air Force bases, and they began mixing their cultures together. And many of the European soldiers began sending pieces of their culture to their American friends, and their American friends vice versa to them. This gave the American companies opportunities to spread into Europe and other parts of the world, as the citizens living there demanded more American styles and commodities. The European companies could not beat these American companies in what they have, so the American companies stayed and are now loved by many people of the world. Conflict. Although many people approve of Americanization, some see Americanization as a hostile takeover and call it globalization because they think that Americanization is destroying cultures around the world. One writer wrote about this, saying, "Globalization is in so many ways Americanization. Globalization wears Mickey Mouse ears, it drinks Pepsi and Coke, eats Big Macs, does its computing on an IBM laptop with Windows 98. Many societies around the world can't get enough of it, but others see it as a fundamental threat." This picture depicts Americanization as a meat grinder that destroys cultures and turns them into one formal culture. This picture depicts the same idea as the previous one, but much less gruesome. Because Americanization is seen as a process that kills cultures through militaristic power, and many rebels, especially in the Middle East, have created anti-American propaganda, such as the pictures above, in order to gain support for their ideas. The picture above, created by Matt Worker, shows off how some of the world believes that America claims to be liberators, but are really just bullies using their military powers. And some people, such as Jose Marti, believe that America should be less involved in other countries, where in a quote he said, "The history of America, from the Incas to the present, must be taught in clear detail and to the letter. Even if the archons of Greece are overlooked, our Greece must take priority over the Greece which is not ours." And on the other side of the fence, people believe that we are doing just what we should, such as Margaret Thatcher, which she wrote about in her book Statecraft, and she's quoted saying, "Major international interventions are doomed unless the U.S. is directly or indirectly involved." Thankfully, some of the violence in other countries towards Americans has drastically been reduced thanks to the Obama administration. There is much evidence supporting this. Adam Cohen wrote about this belief in his article, How Europe Sees America, where he said, "Most Europeans think America's political influence in the world was negative over the past 5 years, but say it has taken a sharply positive turn since Barack Obama's election as U.S. President." Mark Hoffman also believed in this theory, in which he said, "The views of American political influence show a very, very positive change with the election of Obama's attitudes toward American culture influence are far more nuanced." Work done by the Pew Research Global Attitudes Project proves that the Obama administration has greatly improved relations with foreign countries in the past 5 years, and their research is shown in the pictures above.